Hi, this is Iris, and welcome to Parapopulous. Today's subject, all hail the Hobbits, or say hello to your cousin Frodo. So, this is something I wrote about almost a year ago, April 14th of 2016, and it comes from the original article on Live Science called Hobbits Were a Separate Species, Ancient Chompers Show. And I have the link to that in my original article, and I will have that on the description. So the short version of this all is, and there really isn't a short version, back in 2003, I think I've got a special set of chompers too, there was a 3-foot-tall fossil remain that was found on the Indonesian island of Flores. It dates back 18,000 years, and I think even to this day there's still great controversy about is this a separate species? Is this an offshoot, a genetic mutation? Is this, just an unlucky, bugger who happened to not turn out the typical height, weight, shape, yada yada of, what we're looking at, of a typical human of that point. So the question does come up, is this a case of de-evolution? So they evolved to suit the conditions on the island at the time. And, if so, is this a mutation? Is this a separate lineage? Or is it strictly hey, we just evolved to suit our conditions here? Is it an abnormality? There's still a lot of question in the scientific community. And listen, forgive me, I'm not a scientist. I might not have, interpreted this completely as clearly as, hey, this is a big old sign in front of your face. It's flashing neon. How can you not understand this? Look, the original article's there. You guys can go check it out. I'm just kind of giving you my feel on it, my take on it. So it's pretty cool, right? I mean, let's just start with this. It's a hobbit, man. It's 3 feet tall. It's basically human. It's pretty damn cool. Whether it is a de-evolution to suit that island, whether it is a disorder, I mean, here's the thing. Science is always evolving, and for you to sit there and say, we know this because science has said so. Okay, science said so, but, here comes the but. Are you waiting for it? You knew it was coming, right? Science is always learning. We're getting better technology, we're getting better research facilities, and the ability to date things better, to in the case of some things, because we have drones now, you can get up and see, a landscape that you would have had to pay a couple $1,000s to rent a helicopter for. And in some cases, you would not have been able to do it because of the conditions. There would have been no convenient landing place and all that. So we're getting to see things literally and figuratively from whole new perspectives. Our technology is improving, the data gathering is improving, the processing of, computers. I mean, 150 years ago, 100 years ago, we didn't have the computers we have now. We didn't have the technology we have now. So to say that science is static and we know everything there is to know and there is no way to learn more, do more, be more, everything we know is what it is, and that's just it. Because science says so. Science is a great contradiction. Because as we learn, sometimes we find out that's not quite what we thought it was. Let's take Venus as an example. We thought Venus was like Sister Earth. Hello, we're going to go move there. We're going to go on vacations. It'll be great. And then we realized that's not the kind of cloud cover we want to be under. So you see, science is always learning. The new technologies help us. New processing helps us. So, for us to sit here and say, we know specifically, humans evolved exactly this way. I don't think we can say that. I think we can say that we know that we evolved. We can trace back to our common ancestor. We can trace back to where we sort of all split from. And, as we, spread out and evolve to the local environment and geology and all that stuff. So, let's not say we know because science says so, because science doesn't even know. We know better, but anyways. So, originally, the argument was for this, to get back on track. And still to this day, people are still arguing this, that this was a modern human with microcephaly. I didn't say it right, I'm sure. But that's a condition that leads to an abnormally small head and body and some mental retardation. So some scientists are just arguing, hey, it's just this. There's no way around it. You've got other scientists saying that it is a unique branch of the human lineage, Homo florensis. Yeah, let's go with that. Guys, I'm sorry, I'm butchering these. Just, forgive me. Which would make it unique. It's not it would make it a lineage as opposed to one unique person, right? So they went and they analyzed how they're trying to narrow this down. They were comparing the teeth. Teeth are very important. Take care of yours, by the way. So some scientists can study you later on, like in 1,000 years. They can go, oh my God, there's teeth. We'll figure this out. Wow, the things I come up with. But it's true, though. I mean, if your teeth are in decent shape, we can go and trace your genetic lineage. How cool is that? We couldn't do that 100 years ago. That's freaking cool. So, these scientists, they took the teeth. 40 known hobbit teeth. 40 known hobbit teeth. That's so cool. And they compared those with 490 modern humans. So, Asia, Oceania, Africa, Europe. Oh my God, I am tongue-tied this morning. And some extinct hominids. Homo habilis, which is among the first makers of stone tools, we think, as it stands right now. And they compared them. They wanted to see, where does this fall in this? Is this just something that's mutated? Is this a one-off thing? Well, not a one-off thing, because they had a couple of them. So, what they found was the hobbit teeth were as small as those from a short modern human. But they have features that were so dissimilar. So what does this mean? Well, it means that when you're looking at the canine and the premolars, they looked primitive. But when you're looking at the molars, they looked advanced, or like something from a Homo sapien. So this whole finding contradicted studies from before that said the hobbit teeth were exactly like modern humans. There was nothing that made them different. They were just some sort of abnormality, but the teeth, they're exactly the same. But here's the other thing. Those teeth, the results say that they're not just modern humans with severe abnormalities. There are features in their... see those teeth. Teeth. Who could think from teeth you're going to figure all this shiz out? Like, come on. How cool is this? So, they found that the pyramidal dental features were the most similar to a Homo erectus, which makes sense because that's the earliest undisputed ancestor of modern humans from the Indonesian island of Java. So, but here's your thing. The erectus, giggle now, it's okay, you can do it, it's all right, I know, was about as tall as a modern human. The scientists think maybe they went into dwarfism because of the island to adapt to the conditions there. So it evolved from into. The isolation The conditions could have reversed it. They could have literally just gone from the erectus, go ahead, to this species based on the fact of all those conditions and stuff. De-evolution, basically. But it's not, because it's evolution still, because you are adapting to your local environment. It does make sense that they would be closely related to that, because these guys were found on the Indonesian island of Flores. So very, very close proximity to that ancestor of ours. So, I mean, that's the basic science of all of this. And, I mean, I think science is we're still going to go back and look at this. We're still going to question this. We're still going to be like, no, you guys were wrong. Like, I think in like 10 years, even, people are going to come back and go, well, we need to look at this again. I mean, and I think that's great. I think questioning and being aware and being open. Here's the thing. You can't just question and be like, I already know the answer. I'm questioning you so I can prove my answer. That's fine. You can do that. That's a whole thing. But you got to get the research and the numbers and the data to back that up. And if you go in looking for something, you're going in with a bias. So you're more likely to pick out the data that is going to give you what you went in looking for. Not good. I mean, if you can go in saying, this is what I'm hoping to prove, but be open to the data you get, that's great. And if you're going in saying, this is what I'm going in to prove, and you're literally just picking and choosing the data to prove your point, that's not good. So, getting past the sciencey part of all of this, even though that's the whole major shiz of all of it, let's ask the questions I ask. Why are people so upset about this? Why? Listen, we're not going to deal with the whole people who believe the biblical thing, you know, Adam, Eve, Noah, we branched from there. We're not even going to deal with that. We're dealing with evolution. We're dealing with the evolution idea. So if you want to argue Adam and Eve, you know what? That's not even on the table here. We're dealing with scientists who believe in evolution and people who believe in evolution. And I want to know why this is so upsetting. We know why it's upsetting to people who believe the biblical. I understand that, if that's your view. Okay. It's whatever keeps you going in the night. You guys know that's what I'm saying. Whatever keeps you going in the night, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But for those of us who believe in evolution, why are you so pissed about this? Are you that friggin' egotistical, egocentric, to think that we are the ultimate, the only? We have evolved to the ultimate form, and anything that changed to suit its environment is less than us. Is it something that was just that one little group that was like weird? No, that has nothing to do with us. That's just a weird little group. How? It's not real. It's not real. Somebody faked it. They had to have faked it. Like that little alien body thing. They had to have faked it. Look, sit down, hush up, open your mind, open your eyes. I don't necessarily agree with all the stuff I see going on, but I don't see anything wrong in looking at the data and having an open mind. We don't know. We really don't know. We weren't there. Maybe we were and we reincarnated, but we can't remember it. I don't know. I can't prove that either, Lord. That's a debate for a whole other topic. But how do we not know that we evolved intelligently, specifically? You know, whether the alien overlords are taking care of it and doing it for us, I don't know either. That's a whole thing I can't prove. It is what it is. But, hey, somebody's going to ask the weird questions. It might as well be me. So, are you that wrapped up in yourself that you are the end-all be-all? Because let me put this point to you. Yes, we basically are a standard form right now. You know, we're standard build. We basically have the same thing. There are some genetic mutations that cause us to be slightly different. Fine. I don't want this species written off as a genetic mutation. They were just flawed. No, they weren't flawed. They, in my mind, adapted to suit an environment. that they happened to get on this island and they went, shit, this looks good. And then they got there and it's like, wow, we're a little too big to, and just it's science. Your body, it just did it. It just did what it had to do to keep them alive. That's freaking cool. And it goes back to this whole thing. People say, "Oh, well, we're like what the species has evolved to the peak, the pinnacle of everything. It's us. There's no proof there's anything better than us ever in history." And I think that's a tie into this. So I'm going to just wander off for 1 second. And I'm going to pose to you this question. If God forbid, goddess forbid, dog forbid, the hamster forbid, whatever you do in the night, gets you through the night, insert it there. An asteroid hits us. Not big enough to totally wipe everything out. Maybe we have a few stragglers left, but it wipes out the majority of us, taking with it the power grid. I mean, those of the people who survived it initially are going to know, hey, that's the laptop. I remember how to work that. We don't have the power. That one's not working. I wasn't a tech. I don't know how to get it working. Shit. How many of our things that we are so superior, number one, will be left to show? Anybody will know how to work. And anybody after a few generations are going to know. We're going to evolve into myth. We're going to be like the people of Atlantis. So as you sit there, potentially from you're looking down your nose at all this, trying to write this off as some poo-poo genetic mutation. Oh, has nothing to do with me. I just want you to know, and God forbid, you might be a myth one day too. You're going to want somebody to find your damn teeth and figure this out. And figure it out honestly. That's all I'm saying. If there's no teeth, well, we're pretty much screwed. We've got nothing really from the Sumerians or, the things before Egypt. So we can't prove any of that. I mean, maybe we do. I'm going to have to look more into that. So don't quote me on that. But I think our evidence of them is pretty much minimal. So we rely on myth. So maybe these guys aren't properly hobbits. Maybe we're not going to go on a great quest with Gandalf. It's entirely possible and very likely, considering, they're dead, number one, but, but what's the harm? What's the harm in saying these are not some genetically stunted evolutions of us? And, what's the harm with people calling them a hobbit? First of all, I think it's cute. Okay, fine, it's science. It's not supposed to be cute, but who said so? And third of all, who's to say that you're the end-all, be-all? Who's to say that even at that point, when we had evolved to Homo erectus, and we were making our stone tools and learning stuff and all the good goods, this wasn't a nice little offshoot that was adapted to its environment and was doing quite well until something went very, very wrong in the environment. Or until, as a human species, we have proved time and time and time again, one of our human cousins showed up and said, hey, I like what you got going on here. How about I take it for myself? We do it all the time. It's not really surprising that it would have happened back in the day, that we would have done it then, just as we're doing it now. And on that note, I just want to say, I don't think humans are inherently hostile. I don't think we're inherently warlike. I understand we had to do it to, fight off the saber-toothed tigers and keep our tribes safe. I think we can evolve beyond that. And I think if that's the reason why this particular species went extinct, as opposed to environmental conditions, you want to look at it and say they're primitive. Well, how about we start proving it? How about we start looking out for each other better? And remembering that might have been a teeny tiny little island but we're a teeny tiny little rock floating in the middle of space. Boo. We'll be back in a few. Thanks for listening. Hey, if you enjoy the podcast and you would like to support it, you can use my Amazon Canada or my Amazon US affiliate links found on the side of the blog. You can also support me through Patreon. Thanks a lot. We'll see you soon.